Hello! This short video is going to be talking about how we're going to do the full reopening of Oak Grove from next week. We are so looking forward to seeing you all back in here and the noise and sounds of you all having fun and working and learning hard back as normal. Thank you.
Hello. The aim of this presentation is to go through the return to college arrangements for next week. I know that everybody will be excited about coming back to college, but I also know that some people will be anxious about the arrangements. I want to make sure that we've all understood them, and I want to make sure that we get it right. The return to college must be safe for everybody, and that will ensure that we can keep open going forward for the rest of the spring term and into the summer term. That full college reopening is actually happening after quite a long period of time when we have not all been together. Therefore, we are really looking forward to students coming back and joining with all of us again. But before we go through those details, I want to say a massive well done and a massive thank you to staff, to students and to families for the flexibility and the adaptability that you have shown during these last few weeks. It has been wonderful seeing the work that has been completed at home. It's been great seeing the work that's been completed in school. Thank you particularly to families for your flexibility and the way in which you have actually ensured your students continue to learn. Thank you to the staff for the great work that you have done. To ensure the safe return to school, the government has asked all secondary schools to make sure they continue with a testing regime and a testing system. It is compulsory for us to establish that, but it is voluntary for staff and students to take part in that. We're using the space as that enables us to have a one-way system and enough area to do that testing system currently in. After students have had 2 tests on site, they will be able to do testing at home. However, we must ensure that all the results of tests are reported to college and to the NHS. Testing at home for staff has already started, and we have our home testing packs. Students' packs will start arriving for us next week, and we'll be able to send them home with students. I can reassure you that testing at home is actually straightforward and pretty easy to do. The booklets of information that you get make it far more complicated than it is in reality, and we will make sure there is a video on our website showing you how to do that. The other advantage of families bringing students in for testing over the next few days is that clearly we'll be able to show you how to do it as well and answer your questions. I have a great testing team who are great professionals at doing the testing system now. It is therefore really important, because we've got to do that testing, that we've got to have a staggered return. So looking at that staggered return, we have testing dates set up. Year 7 students in COA, Year 11 and Year 8 students will all have had their pre-return tests on Thursday the 4th or Friday the 5th of March. On Monday the 8th of March, we're asking Year 9s to do their pre-return test. On Tuesday the 9th of March, we're asking Year 10s, the rest of COA students and sixth form students to do their pre-return tests. We have to comply with the guidance, make sure there's between 3 and 5 days between the different tests that we do. And I need, so that we keep all classes open, my testing staff back in their class doing their normal jobs by the 15th of March. That's why we've allocated those dates for those testing systems, and it's really important that we stick to them. The staggered return dates for students from next week are that we'll be welcoming Year 7 and Year 7s in COA and Year 11 students back. Those are the classes that have had the greatest impact of COVID-19 upon their education and the amount of self-isolation that they've had to do. And also many of those Year 11 students will be leaving us shortly, so we need to finish off all the work for exams and coursework that they need to do. Tuesday we'll welcome back our lovely students from Year 8 and Animus classes. Wednesday we will welcome back our wonderful students in COA and the sixth form. Thursday will be the day in which our great Year 9 and Year 10 students are in, so that Thursday and Friday will be the dates that everybody is back in school. There will be students on other days in school who are key worker families. However, we have put everybody back on timetable from Monday so that students will be going back to their normal classes. That means on Monday, I won't have provision for Year 10s because normally they would be at college. It's important we're not complacent going forward. And after the year that we've all had, where we've had to be adaptable, flexible, and things have been forever changing, the vaccine rollout and the fact that testing exists for us all may mean that some people start to relax their guard. It is really important that if somebody in your household develops the symptoms of COVID-19, a change of taste and smell, a sudden persistent cough, or high temperature, they must not be sent into school for testing or for education. And you and your family still have to self-isolate, even if people have still had the vaccine. And you will need to get a PCR test. And only then will you be able to come back to school if it's negative. And if it's positive, it will still be a 10-day self-isolation for you and your family that is required. We still have to wear masks, wash hands. We still must make sure when we sneeze, we catch it, kill it, and bin it. We need to maintain social distance where we can, and we still have to keep to our households and the bubbles that are established already. One of the changes is that up until the Easter holidays in secondary schools, the government is recommending that face masks should be worn in class and around school by all students and staff who can tolerate those. So unless you are exempt, all students and staff should be wearing a face mask around the college and in lessons. We know for many of our young people that will be difficult and that it will not be possible. That's okay. If a student does develop during the school day symptoms of COVID-19, they will still need to be collected. And it's really important that we are easily able to contact you. The same is true if a student tests positive with a lateral flow test in school, they will need to be collected immediately. Please make sure we have up-to-date contact details. There are a whole range of things that we need to consider. It's really important we re-establish routines for all of our young people and indeed ourselves. It's really important that young people are going to bed at a reasonable time and that they are getting back into as normal sleep patterns as possible. Because we want young people to be coming back and ready to learn. We want people to be getting back into the routines for learning. We want them to be playing with their friends. What's also really key to understand is that people will feel anxious. That's adults, that's students. That's students who haven't shown anxiety before. That's students who have shown plenty of anxiety. There are many things that can be causing anxiety at the moment. And so we've got to work with everybody to make sure coming back is a great experience. We want people to recover their routine so they can get on with learning. We're not going to be talking about catch up. We're going to be talking about lifelong learning. We're going to be talking about the fact that students will just carry on learning. They've learned many different things in different ways during the lockdown periods. But the other things we've got to think about are we still can't have meetings on site. They will still have to be through Teams and those kinds of platforms. We've still got to work through those students who are completing exam courses, the way in which those exams will be undertaken, the way in which coursework will be used, because it's important for their futures. We've still got some students who will be shielding and we'll need to be providing ongoing home learning for them. I've still got some staff who will be shielding until the 31st of March, and therefore there will still be some changes to staffing, though our aim is to be as consistent as possible. Drop-offs will continue in 2 waves from transport, with an 8:40 wave and an 8:50 wave. We ask parents who will be dropping children off and young people off to please drop them off at 8:55. Please try not to be earlier. Pickup will be at 2:45, 2:55 and 3 o'clock from the parent gate. 2:45 for students in COA and Animus, 2:55 for students in the sixth form and 3 o'clock for subject-based learners. Those are also the times that students will come down to their transport before transport can leave. And that's because we still have got to maintain our large groups in schools in terms of the large bubbles that we have got. It's really important we continue to have those control measures in school where students will still need to wash their hands on entry. We'll still have split breaks, we'll still have split lunch times. Those are not things that we are going to be getting rid of shortly. In fact, the government guidance would suggest that those kinds of things are going to be with us for the rest of this academic year. In terms of our recovery plan for students and for the college, it is really important to us that we are focusing on well-being, that we're focusing on connections, that we are focusing on looking after people and how they are feeling, that we are continuing their lifelong learning journey and that we are continuing to support people. And what that support will mean will change. Some youngsters will come straight back into school and will just get on with the work where they left off the last time they were in school. Others, it will be a slightly different road. And we are ready and able to support all of those young people with that. And indeed you. And it's really important that families feel supported as well. And it's really important that families are supporting staff in that journey as well. The roadmap the government has set out is really clear that up to Easter, there should be masks in schools where students and staff can tolerate them. There should be no off-site visits, no on-site meetings, and there should be really limited visitors to the college. What that looks like in the summer term is dependent upon the decisions that the government makes about relaxing lockdown restrictions. We've got to remember that the opening of schools is the first thing that is happening in the relaxing of the lockdown restrictions. And it's the first thing that's happening because it is seen as the most important thing. That means that all the other rules have got to be adhered to. That means that there are still people who aren't being able to see other members of their families. It means there are still people who can't meet up with people who they want to, yet they do spend time in a community where there's going to be back to nearly 400 of us on site every day. Those seeming contradictions are because education is incredibly important, because education is absolutely crucial for all of our young people and their future well-being. It's really important that we focus on the learning, well-being, progress and safety of everybody when they come back. We've reviewed our risk assessments, we've reviewed our protocols in conjunction with the Professional Association guidance, the government guidance, the DFE guidance, and we've consulted and talked to our staff about that. I know that some people are concerned about the return to school, and one of the things I need to ask families to do is to make sure you are socially distanced as possible at the parent gate at the end of the day. Please don't be late in picking up your young person. Please be there ready at the right time. That really will help. I look forward to seeing you all soon. I look forward to my staff team welcoming everybody back. The safety and the focus on their well-being of our students is our primary aim at this time. And thank you to everybody for your ongoing support.